Please subscribe to The Old Fools, listen to it, and tell all your friends. We need all the friends and listeners we can get. Hello, my name is David Quantick, and I'm only part of the high-powered turbo team behind The Old Fools podcast. I'm a writer, I'm a dancer, I'm a professional. And now I'd like to introduce my alleged co-host, Ian Martin.
Yeah, I'm Ian Martin, flailing old fuck, and I'm delighted that we have with us this week the legendary Lisa Holdsworth. Lisa.
I am a TV writer, and I'm probably most famous for killing Martine McCutcheon with a giant piece of cheese in an episode of Midsummer Murders. I think it's going to end up on my gravestone, that.
Was she killed by falling day, Bree?
Oh, I've heard them all, David, please.
Oh, well, that's encouraged me. I'll just shut up then.
See, our listeners can't see your face, Quantick, but I mean, I can. You're already thinking of a hashtag game that involves murder and cheese on Blue Sky, aren't you?
No.
Yes, you are.
Oh, Danish Blue Sky.
Oh, God almighty.
Yeah,
Edam, she wrote. No, I think, Lisa, would you like to talk to us about anything rather than cheese?
I was particularly struck by the death of John Prescott this week, because it just reminded me of, I think, growing up as a child, the big beasts that roamed the commons, your Heseltines, and the spitting image puppet era of politics, which now does feel like it really has gone. But I think Prescott is going to be much missed. And I liked how there was very much a cross-party outpouring of warmth that for once felt genuine and not written by the press office.
Yeah, we're all going to miss him in a way. It was weird that he was the guy who said we're all middle class now, and yet he's managed to take forward his working class credentials to the grave somehow. It's no mean feat. I mean, they had him done up for 2 Jaguars and playing croquet and enjoying champagne, all the things you're not allowed to do if you're working class. And he still kind of managed to be working class when he died. I think that's not nothing.
It's significant, isn't it?
He's probably the last politician to have had a job. He was, a steward on a ship. Most politicians basically seem to go to university to study something called PPE, which I think stands for People in Parliament Executive. And he's probably the last person who ever engaged in a financial transaction, getting a tip or something. And of course, he was violent. And it's brilliant how people just go back and go, you know what, in the old days, if someone was annoying you, you just punch them. And my only regret is that he didn't actually kill every single member of Chumbawamba. Correct pronunciation, please note. Yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it? Oh, yeah, we'll just throw the water from this champagne bucket we happen to be holding to protest against the non-socialism of a working class man.
In the process of full confession, I am actually quite good friends with a couple of members of Chumbawamba because I am from Leeds.
Because Alice Nutter's a writer now, isn't she?
A very fine writer and a very good friend of mine. But I think it's a moment in their history that they don't look back on with great fondness, because I don't think they realise what they were unleashing on themselves.
Thank God she survived the theoretical David Quantick bloodbath.
I like Alice Nutter. She's a brilliant writer.
Oh, now you like her. Oh, right, yeah.
I won't obsess about this, but I worked with a writer called Stephen Wells who had a close relationship with Chumbawamba, which basically was a mixture of agreeing with them and taking the piss.
I think that's pretty much how everybody interacted with them back in the day. But they've become, weirdly, local treasures in Leeds. On the side of the theatre, a line from Tug Thumping is now lit up in neon and all the rest of it. So even the hardcore anarchists become national treasures at some point in their lives, which I find quite amusing.
Because I'm very much against, well, I'm not against politics in pop, but I think the best pop music is made by people who sell out. So I was delighted to see, when the kids were watching TV the other day, some animated trolls singing to Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. That made my day.
It's in almost every other American film, because it's such a great song. It is a fantastic song, but I think we've moved away somewhat from its original meaning.
I think so. We've moved away from talking about John Prescott as well, for which I apologise.
Penis like a chipolata.
Did you ever meet him, Lisa?
Penis like a chipolata. Sorry to just blunder in with that.
Could that be the most male talking over a woman of all time? I'm asking Lisa, did you ever meet John Prescott? And your response is to talk over her and say, penis like a chipolata. Lisa, did you ever meet John Prescott?
Sadly not. He was supposed to be at some Labour fundraiser I was at, full confession, I am a Labour Party member. And it wasn't him. And also Chuka Amuna was supposed to be at that one as well, and he didn't turn up either. So I ended up with Alan Johnson and his very nice wife, and they were lovely, I must say. And Alan Johnson was he'd been in the Post Workers Union, etc. I think he was probably of the same era as John, those working class people who don't have a cut class accent. There's only really Angela Rayner left. And I suspect her and John Prescott have had some very knowing conversations over the last few years. I
like Alan Johnson. I think him and John Prescott could have done a kind of Saint and Greavesy act, because Alan Johnson's quite friendly and pleasant and likes the Beatles, and John Prescott punches people. So it would have been, and maybe Alan Johnson and Angela Rayner could do a kind of buddy podcast now.
Well, I mean, ITV will probably send him on holiday to Cornwall and make a series out of it. But I would watch that.
In a quirky vehicle.
Oh, God. Anyway, penis like a chipolata. Apparently John Prescott had, according to the woman he had an affair with.
They made an ITV drama of that.
Really?
Yeah, of his affair. They did a whole thing. I mean, they really did try to pull him down, the establishment, but he just kept coming back strong. It was a bit like an alternative universe Trump. Whatever he did, people liked him a bit more. Punch a bloke, have an affair, be a bit rude to the Queen, all those kind of things. People loved him for it.
I would watch Prescott, the movie. Who would you cast? Tom Hardy.
Oh, let's not mess about. Tom Hardy or James Norton. James Norton perfecting that whole accent, definitely.
James Naughty?
No, not James Naughty, you Radio 4 wanker.
We've done with John Prescott and his chipolata. Let's move on to Word of the Year. Cambridge Dictionary's Word of the Year, which was manifest. Now, I'm in two minds about this, because obviously it's Word of the Year, not because it's a new word, but because young people are using it a lot, and they mean it in the sense of to make something magically happen that I want to happen. So it's manifest the verb. And some singer, Ida Lupino, something, I can't remember what she's called.
Ida Lupino, she did the Lambeth Walk.
No, au contraire, she headlined Glastonbury due to manifesting itself. Anyway, it's coming back because young people are using it more. And I had a look at the ones that didn't win, and they're things like brain rot. Oh, see, that's new. But I mean, they use it a lot on, guess what, TikTok. Then there was demure. That narrowly escaped being Word of the Year, demure, because someone had used it on TikTok. Lore, Lore, like Taylor Swift's lore, what she stands for. Yeah, I don't mind that. They've used it a lot.
Verily, Taylor Swift's lore doth be the bomb. People say the bomb still, don't they?
They don't. No, they stopped saying that in 2011. So just shut up. And they use it a lot on TikTok. Romantasy. How do you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fancy. Do you know why that was shortlisted? Because people use it a lot on TikTok. And also something called BookTok.
But there's also, can I just interrupt you, Grandad? There's also bromantasy.
Yeah. That wasn't shortlisted for the fucking Word of the Year, though, was it, Quantic?
Oh, God, now we're a stickler for the... All right, Marquis of Queensbury, carry on.
And slop. Slop, as in just unwanted, useless. It's a bit like this slop cast we're conducting slops here because of AI. AI is filling the internet with slop. So I don't mind any of them. And I was reminded yet again that old people it's not young people that old people hate. And it's not old people that young people hate. Both young people and old people hate the middle-aged because the middle-aged can't decide whether they want to be young or old. You get this guy saying, hi, I'm 39-year-old, but I'm quite with it. I wonder if anyone could recommend a skateboard instructor in the Brighton area. Or they say, oh, I'm 42. I've never felt so ancient. Actually, that's right. You never feel as ancient as you do at 42, 43, I don't think.
They do it at the middle age because the worst thing you can call someone online now is centrist dad.
Oh, I'm a centrist dad.
That is a vicious insult from a young person if you ever got called.
Well, do you have centrist mums? Does centrist mum exist as a concept?
I don't think it does. Karen, I suppose, is the without the whinging.
But that's nastier, isn't it? That's they're always nastier. The women ones, they're always centrist dad. Just kind of okay, I'm approachable, but I'm a bit woolly-minded.
There's a band. There's always bands. There's a band of Radio 4 presenters, men. They call themselves the centrist dads, which is kind of appropriate because they're all quite old and they all like Paul Weller. Paul Weller is kind of the centrist dad Jesus.
It definitely is. And his transition from Radio 1 to Radio 2 has been pretty obvious over the years.
Oh, I love that. I love when the music you grow up with is played by people in their, played by Elaine Page as part of her musicals hour on a Sunday.
But I love those YouTube videos of young people rediscovering old tracks.
Yeah.
And for reasons that sound very dodgy, I've had a 21-year-old living with me recently while she was doing her MA, and she kept coming down and saying, "Have you heard this Phil Collins track?" Right. The original came out. Rewatching television shows that I'd loved. She rewatched Buffy the Vampire Slayer and wanted to talk about it a lot. So I did the conversation when I was 22. I don't need to do it again.
I try and be an up-to-date centrist dad. I like to buy the Now CDs. CD, by the way, is a way of playing music like streaming, only you have to hold it. The Now CDs are great. And what I always find to my disappointment is I'm going, you're quite like that. Yeah, notes, pretend to like Chapel Roan so I can go on Facebook. And then every so often there's a track I really like. And then I suddenly realise that it's basically based on a sample of something I knew in 1980.
Yeah.
And it's so depressing because you want to run out and tell people, I recognise this sample, in the belief that you're like a really cool kid, but you're just Steve Buscemi, hello fellow kids gif.
The first time the words, I remember that from the first time around, pop out of your mouth, that's when you know you're a boomer. Excellent.
The worst thing for me, being an occasional music journalist, is sometimes someone will send me like, there's a New Order reissue, and it's like the 30th, and I'll go and I'll start reviewing it, and then I'll go online and look on Wikipedia, and it says, in his 1995 review of the first reissue of this album, David Quantick said, so I've been here before, and it wasn't even the original. I reviewed the first reissue, now I'm reviewing, and it's this horrible kind of loop where every door I open, there I am.
Yeah, and you'd forgotten that you were there. The 90s, coming back to you now, is it the 90s? 90s, actually, I was reminded of the 90s this week when I was. When that banana taped to a wall was solemnly auctioned for $5.2 million. And I was struck by the picture of it, just this banana taped to a wall. And everybody, all the staff of the auction house, looking really glum, really solemn, as though this wasn't an amazing, ridiculous fucking joke. And it was a joke the first time, and then someone else did it, and it was, not a joke. It repeated itself as some tragedy. And now it's back again for the third time, and it's beyond tragedy. It's, Sunday afternoon drama or whatever. And the 90s was when everything was funny. Well, art was funny in the 90s. Yeah. Tracy Emin was the tent thing, the bed thing, that was all funny. And then she stopped being funny. Damian Hirst was the same. Damian Hirst was funny and engaging. In fact, a mate of mine, he moved into Shoreditch in the 90s, about the same time as Damian Hirst, who very gamely set up a stall at this local Shoreditch fair, raising money for good cause and everything. And he was offering people two things. Kids could do one of those spiral paintings for £1, but for adults, he would take you aside and show you his bollocks, which he tie-dyed for £5.
They are the golden days.
See, the 90s weren't all bad.
To be honest, though, if you said the high point of my weekend was someone showing me their bollocks, I would seriously question your mentality.
Yeah, but if I'd said to you, I haven't seen his bollocks, but if I said to you, do you know what? I remember seeing Damien Hirst's tie-dyed bollocks in 1995 at a Shoreditch local fair. You might be reasonably impressed.
Yeah,
I can see. I can see by your face you're not, obviously.
No, I think it was acceptable in the 90s. Definitely. Although I was just about to chime in and say that all that art from the 90s, that every front page took the mick over, he's cut a shark in half, etc., now seems to have meaning. You do look at it, go, oh, no, they were saying something, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the banana taped to the wall is ever going to have meaning. And that idiot who paid 5.2 million, I hope he's had to pay a big chunk of tax on that. That's how
he was a crypto. I mean, but the guy who bought it was a crypto entrepreneur, so he can get to fuck anyway, can't he? Let's face it.
Nit-pickery. And it's sort of like this, that I was watching with my family, as you do, a cartoon about warrior frogs. And these frogs had spears and bows and arrows, and they could talk, and they lived in huts. They had fire, and they could fly around on giant turtles, which were also psychic. One of them was called Daryl. And somebody in the room pointed at the screen and said, that frog's got hair. Frogs don't have hair. And I was like, that's the nitpicking moment. Not mind the flying or the language, but that frogs don't have hair. And I realised at that moment that every time you watch TV or a film or you see a story, what people do now is nitpick. They'd never have had those. You're watching a scene where people are shagging in Concorde in Rivals. And so we go, that's the wrong kind of ashtray for Concorde in 1979. You go, they're all knobbing in a supersonic aeroplane. And it's constant. On Twitter, somebody you'll say something like, I bought a toothbrush, and someone will say, and how do the people of Gaza benefit from that? It's just constantly, whatever you say is wrong.
Yeah, but did you say people were making love on an aeroplane?
Yeah, all right. What I meant was inside the aeroplane, not on the wings.
Because that
would be a great episode of Rivals, and I'm sure they've got that planned for the next series.
By the way, I've just, based on this, most bizarre trivia fact, my friend Guy Pratt from Pink Floyd, name drops, also played bass on like a Prayer by Madonna, he pointed out the cloud formation that Concorde flies through in Rivals is in the shape of a naked woman having sex.
What are you?
True fact, look it up. No, it's true. It's CGI. It's not really Concorde. Sorry to nitpick you, Ian. It's not really a cloud shaped like a naked woman. Google it.
Okay, have you been at the fortified Bovril again?
Anyway, nitpickery. Discuss it or don't. I'm done.
Drama writers are absolutely plagued by nitpickers. The absolute worst thing you can say to a dramatist is, well, that wouldn't happen in real life. If we were writing real life, well, we'd be writing Gogglebox basically now. And even that's scripted by the looks of it. But there is always someone, everything you write, someone will have an opinion on why you've got it wrong. So when everybody gets vexed because someone of colour is in a historical drama now, there's another one raging on Twitter today about Blitz, the new Steve McQueen film. It's so tedious. But the best one I heard was apparently there was a bloke, and I think he's long gone now, who used to write to the BBC, used to love period dramas, but if he heard a wood pigeon in a period drama from 1938, apparently they were in the country, he would write to the BBC and say there were no wood pigeons in the country before 1938 or whenever it was. And I just thought that the absolute commitment to that, well, he must have been sat watching Pride and Prejudice or something like that, just waiting for his moment to come.
Wow.
And then at last... they've put a wood pigeon in a Bronte drama or a Jane Austen drama.
I love that idea that all around the world, people are there's a wood pigeon man. There's a woman who knows about the rank badges in the Serbian army. She's always there. Oh, Serbian drama and Austro-Hungarian Empire. Rank badges lady is with us. And everything is wrong.
Also, if you wrote it right, having written crime, you'll be surprised to hear that the Metropolitan Police do not get a DNA result back in 24 hours. In fact, I know a writer who used to work for the Forensic Service. He said you'd be lucky if you got it back in a fortnight. So the drama will be incredibly dull, just everybody sat in an office waiting for the DNA results to come back.
One of the ones that I know is history programs with big books. Apparently, they don't put on the Mickey Mouse white gloves. They just open the book and read it. Yeah. But obviously, in the program, the director must be going, it'd be really nice if you could put on these white gloves while we look at the Doomsday book. We go, no, it's fine. It's fucked already. No, white gloves.
We had a first flurry of snow of the winter. And as usual, people were saying, oh, this age, snow's the stuff you got in 1947, 1962. As proper snow, that was. And then people start saying, well, it's not snow because the Inuit people have 40 words for snow, or is it Icelandic people? I can't remember. So someone has 40 words for snow. And my point is that everyone has 40 words for snow. So I've been going the length and breadth of Britain in my 1964 Morris Minor, gathering notes about the 40 words, the 40 English words for snow. Would you like to hear them?
Oh, go on. Entertain us with your snow synonyms.
Okay, 40 words for snow, 40 expressions for snow. Here we go. Sleet, slush, soft hail, God's dandruff, frozen angel tears, frost drops, cascading heaven shred, little stars, atomized blankness, white soot, white ash, white shit, reverse smoke, tiny cotton buds, floaty cloud gash, air bollocks, Christmas sprinkles, magic dancing dust, catter scatter, clatter matter, death spikelets, Santa's crushed aspirin, hush powder, spangle drift, slow blizz, bleach mulch, flat the whitey-o, celestial come down, bibble bobble.
Is that it?
No. 20th century telesignal, winter fall, holy coke, sky sleep, stars.
Oh, God. Can we cut to an ad break or something?
Fluffy wuffy, Catholic astonishment, fairy blanket, stumble glitch, snowman plasma, cosmic sixpences. That's your lot. That's your 40 expressions for snow.
Remarkable.
The length and breadth of Britain, I went in a fucking 1964 Morris Minor to get that lot. Don't disdain it.
Remarkable. Or you could just buy 50 Words for Snow by Kate Bush, in which Stephen Fry recites a load of made-up words for snow without having a conniption halfway through.
Oh, do you know what really improved my week was when you finally joined Blue Sky properly with your fucking hashtag games.
You love the hashtag game. John Prescott played my hashtag game, bizarrely.
Mr. Chipolata.
Yeah, we didn't do political chipolatas.
Yeah, do sausage politics as your next hashtag.
Sausage. I could do sausage World Cup football as Jeff Worst.
Oh, nice.
Oh, my God.
I did one. It's just like that, plucked out the air like a genius.
Just like that.
56 words for slurry.
There are also synonyms for cocaine, obviously, as well.
There are, yeah. Conversations in the 90s used to be quite confusing. You'd be going, I'm sorry, what?
There was a spate, wasn't there, of celebrities snorting coke and the pictures appearing in The Sun or the Daily Mirror taken by a friend.
Oh.
I mean, well, with friends like those, you know what I mean?
The days of the my cocaine chain seem to have gone. And actually, because we're all grown-ups, people who were caught, I think Richard Bacon's the most famous one, because he was a Blue Peter presenter, which is just next to the Pope in holiness at this today.
Yeah.
That it was always finished, that's it, it's over. It turns out he's a very nice man, he's had a bit of a life, and now he's a good broadcaster, so, you can come out the other side of it.
But, being a Blue Peter presenter is a gateway to so many things, none of which I can remember now. But it's
like a drug. It's like a drug.
It's a gateway drug, ironically.
It's like a gateway job.
The best one's Matt Baker, because he does everything. He's the Swiss Army knife of broadcasting. He does the voice, does the commentary on the gymnastics, and now he's doing a farm show on Channel 5, which is the zenith of factual television now, in Yorkshire, obviously, ticks that box. And he does travel logs with his mum and dad. So,
wow.
That is, his agent is the best in the business, obviously.
When you said that he does everything, in the moment I thought that he just was crippled by a variety of drugs. Just imagine this bloke on telly who I've taken a lot of acid, I've taken Mandy's, I've taken coke. Yeah. Is that my parents? Oh my God, Mum, Dad, it's an intervention, son.
And Channel 5 want me to run a farm as well. Oh my God.
I am getting I know I've mentioned it before, but the Jane McDonald shows where she just goes round the world going, oh, isn't this nice? And then at the end sings a song from the Elaine Page show. And it's become a thing that you try and guess what song she's going to sing. If she goes to Jerusalem, is she going to sing Israel by Susie and the Banshees? You just hope.
She ain't going to sing that.
Oh, that's a shame. But anyway, Jane McDonald, if she ever retires, I want that gig. I can't sing. and I'm not a friendly northern lady.
That woman is absolutely stealing a living, but she clearly doesn't care, and I have nothing but respect for the hustle.
Me too. I mean, Vanessa Feltz used to be like that back in the day. She'd be doing work in shopping centres, and I had nothing but admiration for people who fucking earn a living, earn it. Brilliant. I
do recall, that said though, John Prescott, I might as well keep mentioning him. When I used to be a writer on TV Burt, one of the best clips we ever found, John Prescott did a Broken Britain documentary where he went round Britain. That is, he went round a bit of Manchester, going up with a bunch of people. John Prescott cage fighting with Jeremy Clarkson. But anyway, it was all about Broken Britain. And he went up to these two lads who were wearing hoodies and they had their hoods up. And he said to them, "So why are you going around with your hoods up?" One of them said, "Because it's raining." And it was just the best answer. You think, investigative journalism. So he punched them to the ground.
Brilliant. Great telly. Lisa, are you one for social media? Are you on social media at all?
I'm transitioning away from Twitter, X, Twix, whatever it's called this month, onto Blue Sky, because Twitter genuinely is becoming bad for your mental health, I think.
Yeah. The Blue Sky influx has brought with it that thing people do when they join a social media platform for the first time, which is, that thing where they go, "Okay, so you want to know about me, so I'm going to tell you about me with these the challenge that I've accepted, also set for myself, but I've accepted this challenge is to no comment, just the covers of the book. These 10 very, very clever books that I might have read. That's who I am. That's what. Or you get someone called, Ozymandias 52 saying, "Look upon these cool LPs, you fuckers, and admire me."
The LP thing is, I will never participate in that because it'll be 3 copies of Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi in all the different formats I've had to buy over the years, and the Kids from Fame album, and that's it.
Much respect. Well, a nice thing happened to me this week. I was reading a Bowie book by Nicholas Pegg, which is a very good book, and it talks about the laughing gnome and how blah, 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 blah. And it reminded me that in 1990, I went to a David Bowie press conference where he sat on a stage with an acoustic guitar. I'm miming acoustic guitar for the benefit of people listening who've never seen one. Ian's looking quite upset. And he was doing this tour where if you requested a song, if enough people requested a song, he would play it. And being a wag and a wry fellow, I put my hand up and said, "David Quantick, NME, if enough people asked for it, would you play The Laughing Gnome?" Mild audience amusement. Then David Bowie picks up the guitar and goes, "I was walking down the high street when I heard footsteps behind me." And I remembered this moment and I mentioned it on Blue Sky. We should be giving them
mentioned it on this podcast.
Did I?
You stupid old man. You mentioned when we had Gail Renard on talking about the Beatles. You talking about Bowie. Yeah, you fucking idiot. Yes, you did.
Well, I don't listen to it. I'm a content provider.
Great. Okay. Well,
but what I hadn't mentioned, because it hadn't happened, was that somebody, unusually for the 1990s, videoed it. So there's actually a clip of the only live performance of The Laughing Gnome. Go on, Ian, do 50 more words for snow.
Oh, I tell you what we should do, just before I go. In the new year, we'll be looking for some way of monetizing this bullshit. So then we might do something called micro sponsorship. 100 quid gets you 10 seconds or whatever. But I think we should try and bring small ads back. And we shut up. And when they went, that was the end of the great newspaper industry.
I used to flog small ads for the Leeds Weekly News, which no longer exists. And I'll tell you how long ago it was. If you were a woman, you were not allowed to wear trousers to the office.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think it was probably the last. And the managing director, we'd been there 3 weeks. It was only a job between going to university. The managing director came in and literally did the speech from Glengarry Glen Ross, ABC, always be closing, about selling adverts to dentists. Never lost that. I just sat there and he said, "If you're not committed to this newspaper, come in on Monday morning with your resignation and I'll give you a fortnight's wages for leaving. And about 4 of us were in there Monday morning. Thanks very much, fortnight's wages.
Those are the days. Is that the point at which we should stop?
You've been listening, probably, to The Old Fools with me, David Quantick, him, Ian Martin, and our marvellous guest, Lisa Holdsworth.
Get it, go.